how tepid contemporary art seemed compared to the passionate quality of this finale with this huge musical score that was recorded at the Abbey Road studio, in London. I say it's like a black mass, okay, and so on. And you're getting this tremendous duel that's like dance theater. The longest duel ever filmed, okay, is this duel, and it is no computer speeding up, okay. These two actors, okay, Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, they did that, and for months they learned this sword play. It's absolutely phenomenal. It is dance. This is contemporary dance, all right? And, okay, so you get this music and the passionate emotion, the two love-hate between these two men, okay? And the whole thing's like a Puccini opera, okay, going back, and they're on and so on, right? And then, so you have this, like, huge, like, it's like romantic nature painting, apocalyptic landscape of the lava, all right? And then, and you get this theme, the crosscut. Lucas crosscuts. There's a destruction of the Senate chamber going on the planet of Coruscant. Okay, so you get this theme of the destruction of politics going on at the same moment, and you have the destruction of industry going on, because as these two guys are wrestling around, they like throw off the whole control panels. Okay, and the whole industrial complex of the planet of Mustafar starts degenerating. You get these girders. In the lava like this. All right. And then, okay, the revelation after 30 years. How did Darth Vader get born? Who is Darth Vader? How did he end up to be Robot Man? How did that happen? Okay, there it is. We see the handsome, okay, Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Okay, getting like... He loses his arms and his legs. Then he catches on fire from the volcano. He incinerates all these horrors and so on. And then finally his broken body is taken. It's surgical droids putting him together. Okay, it's like a Frankenstein monster thing. Cross-cutting to Natalie Portman dying in childbirth. Okay, all right. Okay. It's fine. Luke and Leia, whom we met. They're born. Luke, Leia. Okay, they're born. Okay, and so on. And then after all these horrors, okay, incredible control, unbelievable control of tone. All right. The Luke and Leia are separated because no one knows they exist, okay? Separated. And they're taken to distant planets. And one is a beautiful planet based on Switzerland, okay, and it is footage of Switzerland, with like mountains and valleys, And the other one is a desert planet. Planet was Tatooine with its double suns and so on. And so you get this amazing thing, strong men arriving with baby handed off to other strong man sitting with wife, okay, against great landscape, okay. It is so beautiful, okay. So, and Lucas himself, after his divorce, retired for 2 years to raise his adopted children, okay? So it's like an incredible personal reference there. I think that is, first of all, that is extremely progressive, okay? To end with this idea of its tenderness of men, okay, toward babies, okay? Not just children, but toward babies. And it ends with so absolutely gorgeous. I'm saying, my God, okay? Nothing has been produced, I'm serious, nothing in the last 30 years in any of the arts, okay, has been produced as emotionally compelling and significant as the finale of Revenge of the Sith.
This is back matter number 16, I think it is. And we're talking about Revenge of the Sith because on the free feed this week, we talked about Camille Paglia's Glittering Images. And one of the best passages in that book is this stirring kind of intellectual defense of Revenge of the Sith. And Revenge of the Sith was recently re-released in theaters for its 20th anniversary. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I saw it at the theater when it first came out.
Welcome to being old.
Yeah. So, and joining us today is obviously my co-host Fresta, but some Star Wars fans. One which was surprising to me, I only found out recently, which was Sai from Rare Candy. So I think it was a recent episode of Rare Candy when you randomly started saying, "Oh yeah, I fucking love the prequels. I love Star Wars," and that was a bit of a surprise. I don't know why it shouldn't be a surprise, but. And our other guest
That's the
today,
least surprising thing I've found out about Sai, actually, is that he's a Star Wars fan. He's such a Jedi.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm more surprised about the New Girl stuff.
Yeah, the New Girl is rough. Yeah, it's.
I actually
like New Girl too.
Yeah,
so,
my missus watches it, and I'm always kind of it's kind of would be based now if that show came out. Some of the stuff they say in that.
Yeah, no, there's legit. There's stuff
Schmidt's
that
great.
Schmidt's great. Yeah, he's the best. I think it was before the software upgrade, for sure. But yeah, with movies,
metrosexual
with film and
Republican
stuff.
king.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great, yeah, Jewish conservative. Yeah, exactly. But
He's like,
I don't know. I'm just not like, I'm literally not a film guy. I appreciate it, and you guys all, and Glenn and everyone, and in the podcast world, just like, watch this for this show, or let's talk about this, and like I'll watch it, and even if it's good, I'm like, fuck, like I wish I was doing so. I'm just not.
Also,
I
watching
like
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Please don't include
like,
me in this because I've said it multiple times that I'm sick of people who are into cinema. I don't want to hear from them anymore. Like,
Yeah, we
that's
kind of
over.
suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah. By the way, that is
thing to weave,
that is Cody LaDuke, who has been on the show before. I forgot to introduce you.
I'm
welcome.
waving.
Obviously,
like this is a video podcast.
Yeah, it's not a video podcast. But obviously very well known for his Star Wars knowledge. Probably more knowledgeable than I am, actually. Like, and one of the things we'll get into in this episode is like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I have like encyclopedic knowledge of it. I literally used to have encyclopedias. And I was one of the rare unicorns who was also that same way with Star Trek, because Star Trek and Star Wars are often the fandoms are kind of like against each other. I also had encyclopedias and shit of like Star Trek stuff. So I have a lot to say about Star Wars, and also I have a very personal connection to it, which we'll also get into. But let's go around, like, what's our history with Star Wars in general and Revenge of the Sith in particular?
I'll start. I remember as a kid thinking Star Wars seemed like super boring, and but then they reissued or remastered or whatever the last part of the trilogy, whatever you call it. You know what I'm talking about, the 70s ones.
The special editions.
They remade those and put them in cinemas, and then I remember I had this cool uncle that he was really into it, and so some point around then, like, I remember watching them and being like, "Whoa, these are actually like sick movies." And then, like, when 99 or whatever, when the Jar Jar Binks one came out, that was like every sleepover you went to, you like would see that movie. So I saw it like 100 times. And I remember these Doritos, like, scratch and win cards. They'd have like one of the characters on the back, and then you could either choose to like, you scratch one thing and there would be higher chance of winning a free pack of Doritos, or there'd be one where it was like you could win like $10,000, but it was like super low odds, and everyone's like, just scratch for the Doritos, you're like actually likely to win that one. But you'd always be like, so it felt like this like dark side, light side kind of battle going on. So I remember that quite vividly. And then obviously like the second one came out. I remember watching that, and I remember like lots of games. Like there was like a pod racer game, and you'd have to buy like
Revenge,
you'd have to buy like parts from it, from like the Jewish like flying merchant guy.
Watto, which sounds like an Australian like nickname too. Oi, Watto, what are you doing? Yeah.
And I remember some other PC game that was like a first person shooter, like lightsaber thing. And then I like literally never watched the one we're going to talk about today back when it came out. I just was too busy skateboarding and partying.
Was that Jedi Academy? Is that the one?
Could have been. Game. I just remember you just start in some like base thing, and no, I'm not going to be able to describe it in any more detail than that. You fight with lightsabers and you're a Jedi or something. But it was fun.
Hell yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So, and that's about it. And I've seen one of those new ones, the first one that came out, episode 7 or something. I think I've seen that. But couldn't tell you.
Less said about it, the better. But
yeah. We can discuss the sequel trilogy if you want. But like, oh my god,
not much to say.
Yeah.
Sai, what about you? Hi there, listeners. Sorry to interrupt. We really appreciate you listening to us, but if you'd like to hear more from us, you should check out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/gettinglit and gain access to our exclusive bonus content, including Back Matter, a special after show where we chat a little bit more informally with our guests, usually about a film or something else related to the main episode. For just $5, you get access to these bonus episodes, as well as the full archive of every episode we've ever done. For more details and to get the most out of your Getting Lit podcast experience, go to patreon.com/gettinglit. Thanks for listening. Okay, back to the show.
Yeah. Well, I had an older brother and his best friend grew up on our street where they kind of were into the original trilogy. And I was like, yeah, we watched them, and I was like, that's cool. But then I remember, yeah, the Jar Jar Binks, the first one came out, the prequel, Jar Jar Binks, and I was actually looking at the Wikipedia page today. It debuted on my birthday, but I didn't go on my birthday, I don't think. Yeah, but I went pretty close after that. And yeah, I loved it. I was like, man, this is sick. And same thing, kind of as Matt, where I don't think I saw the last one until more recently, or if I did, I didn't pay attention to it or understand its beauty, you know? And then, yeah, during COVID lockdowns, I was going through like just a little bit of a rough patch, nothing too crazy, but still it was kind of the worst time of that time. And, just going through like a couple struggles. And I remember just like watching that movie 3 times in a row, like just trapped in my little tiny ass house, you know? And, I was like, damn, this is crazy. And then I watched that's when Kanye West first went on Rogan, and I just happened to tune into the episode, and he's like, dude, all during lockdown, I've been watching Revenge of the Sith. And I'm like, yo, we're watching the same movie. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. And, but yeah, I love that they're having this modern, that they're good, that people realize that the
fucking finally.
Yeah, they rule. And that all the criticism of them are actually it's actually stuff that's quite endearing, you know, about them, and that they're in context. Like if only those were our biggest problems now, the haters of the prequel and stuff, you know, that's kind of my take on it, is like, oh man, it's actually the best thing we've had in a long ass time, especially with Disney now and Star Wars and all that.
The criticisms, to borrow a rare candy phrase, the criticisms of the prequels are very Reddit. Like, it's all about like really stuff that doesn't have anything to do with what Star Wars actually is. Like, you know, so we'll get into that.
It's like when people are like, he said parsec as a unit of time, whereas actually a unit of measurement or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I like dropping that one because it's funny, but I don't really know what it means. Like,
it's like 1,000 light years or something, isn't it? Or something like that.
No idea.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. It's not like we're not watching Cosmos or whatever. It's like
yeah.
Oh god. Exactly. Cody, what about you? What's you're a bit younger than everyone else, so like
Yes, I believe I'm the baby here. I grew up like in Star Wars. I don't know when I first watched it because I wouldn't have seen them in theaters because I was a little too young. I might have been able to see Revenge of the Sith, but I just wasn't really into it at that point. So I probably got into it around 2007-ish. So I would have had the DVD. This would have been around the time that game The Force Unleashed was coming out. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh yeah, I love that game.
And I just watched it a lot. I like wore out the DVD to where it was like you would play it and it would like scratch up and stop playing. I would watch all the special features of like Ewan and Hayden learning all the lightsaber combat in it. I've just been a long time Star Wars fan. I always loved the prequels, even like at times when like it wasn't cool to like the prequels. I'm also like an OG nerd where like everyone's a nerd now. Glenn talks about this all the time. Everyone's a nerd now. I'm like an actual nerd when it actually mattered. Like I was like playing Final Fantasy VII in middle school when other people were playing like Call of Duty, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I was an only child as well.
That's rad. Fuck Call of Duty, dude. Yes. Shout out Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Big Kingdom Hearts fan too. That gets people into stitches when I talk about that. I think that's it. And recently I was on the Perfume Nationalist talking about Star Wars back in December, I think. That was fun. I had people like DMing me about the episode. That was interesting. Like people really liked it, and it was cool.
Yeah, you talked about the entire saga on that episode, didn't you?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I really loved your interactions on that episode when you're talking about like the joys of Jabba's palace. Like How like disgusting and gross it is. I love that. Yeah.
How Jack identifies with Jabba.
Yeah. I often see my dog. My dog, I don't know if I put this on social media or not, but she'll sit up in her little bed on the floor, and just the way she's sitting and the way her legs are, she looks like Salacious Crumb, the little thing that's like that's sitting in Jabba's lap. Like,
I didn't realize that like they actually fully redid Jabba for those like 90s remakes or whatever.
Yeah,
so I always was like, whoa, that's like such good special effects for the 70s. Then recently,
it is
bakery. Yeah, like I saw like the original what it looked like, and it was just like some John Candy looking dude with like a vest on or something. And I was like, oh, because the implication with Jabba too is that he's like raping Princess Leia or whatever. When it's like a slug monster, that's way more horrifying than if it's just like some like slub.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we were this was in primary school, and we were doing like some module on science fiction in English class or something, and the teacher was showing us Return of the Jedi, and there was so many, like half the class were like pulled out of the class because of Jabba the Hutt. Like they didn't want their kids to like exposed to Jabba the Hutt raping Princess Leia. Like, and we didn't go to a religious school or anything. It was just that like those parents were just like confronted by Jabba the Hutt, and you know he is confronting. He's a literally slimy gangster. So.
I know Leia wanted it. It was a fake Me Too, dude. It was a fake. It was a fake. Yeah.
Harvey Jabba Harvey Jabba innocent. Yeah.
Harvey Jabba,
his little Zimmer frame as he's like sliding along.
Yeah, he's like a powerful man, you know, as if that's not going to be attractive to her.
Yeah.
But the perfume national, I always like I try really hard not to let other people or even popular people like, you know, where I have this, oh yes, I have the same take as them or something, you know, but it is nice when Jack, when I'm like, oh, I line up with Jack on that, you know, and especially like with the prequels, I'm like, it's coming around. I knew it. And same thing with, I got so much hate for being like, after listening to all the modern pop stars, I'm like, actually Chaperone is the good one and all you guys are retarded. And everyone was like, no way, man, Sabrina. Yeah. And then like a month later, Jack is like, yo, to actually Chaperone, this is actually kind of good. And I'm like, so anyway.
In my defense, I just think Sabrina Carpenter is hot. That's it.
It's fair. Yeah,
that's fair. I don't think the music is good.
Chaperone is she's just an annoying personality, and I think people can't separate that. She's like extreme. I really hate her personality. She's very, very annoying, but her music is
great. What makes it that's what makes it kind of, because you're supposed to not like her, you know, you're not supposed to. Yeah, it's like
she's a complicated female character.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, the prequels are back. You know, we're fully bought in.
We're so back.
We're so back.
Yeah, we're so back. Revenge of the it's so fucking good. It's just so the whole last third of that movie just get me so hyped up every time I see it. I'm like, let's go.
From basically like the scene where like Anakin marches on the Jedi Temple with that awesome music playing. I'm like, fuck yeah.
It's so sick. Yeah.
I do wonder because like you know, it's such a cultural phenomenon. Do I need to like lay out what it's all about or whatever? Everyone knows Star Wars, right? Like they know
some people may need a refresher, because I always, when I go into these movies, I'm like, I forget what the plot is. I know there's Darth Vader and the Death Star and Luke Skywalker's his son. That's all I can ever kind of remember.
That's all you need for the originals, basically. And Luke essentially ends up like redeeming his father, and like he comes back to the light side or whatever. In the prequels are like showing the development of Anakin Skywalker, how he went from like a good Jedi to a Sith, basically. And it shows that progression. Most of that kind of progression does happen in the third film, Revenge of the Sith. And it happens in a way that is like just so visually kind of like, it's such a feast for the eyes, to use a cliche. Yeah. But like that first third as well of the movie, I love the opening of that movie too. I think it's my favorite. Yeah, it's great. It's my favorite opening of a Star Wars film, because it's just like...
it's where they're flying the cruisers through space. And and they
Yeah.
do
CGI peaked in 2005. Like, it's never been better.
It still looks fucking good.
Yeah.
Like it has
looks
not
totally
dated well.
real. Like it doesn't look fake. Like it's incredible.
And even if it does,
I heard
like,
that.
I kind of like when CGI kind of looks fakes. But so anyway,
but it's
totally
it's not like the hyper realism that we get like in like AAA video games now. But it just looks like a movie. Like it looks. I'm trying to find the words exactly.
It looks like they filmed it in space. With the whole spaceship.
It looks like an actual documentary taking place on an LAAT cruiser going.
What were you going to say, Si?
What was I going to say? It'll come to me. I heard that the reason it's so good is that George Lucas was like a literal like slaver on his CGI team and would just make them all work 16-hour days, and that no one wanted to do that ever again, and that's kind of why it fell off. And and it's just
apparently there's a new biography by Barry Diller, the producer, who's like shitting on George Lucas in it. I'm kind of curious about it.
Interesting. One thing I like about the whole prequels is George Lucas is a real artist, because he tried his darndest not to retread any of it. It was all new ships, all new styles, all new everything, but it still maintained this thread. He made it like it would be watching like the difference between the movie made and set in the 50s and the late 80s or something, which is exactly what it is, and it's and then to not even bring up the sequels, it's like the opposite of that, just complete hogwash, but he really I don't care about the shitty dialogue. I don't care about the corniness. Like I do not care about that. If you care about that, probably Star Wars isn't for you. I don't know.
You don't maybe just put the movie on mute and watch a silent movie. It still works. Like it's great.
You probably don't get the vision if you're focusing on that sort of stuff. And he is a very technical, but also a director who is it's always about the eye and what you see on screen. It's not really about like complex characters and witty dialogue or whatever. It's more about the technology, the images, the color palette. Like the color palette in this film is amazing. Like how it goes from really brightly. Well, throughout the prequel trilogy, it kind of starts out really kind of bright and sunny, because a lot of it is set on Tatooine, the desert planet. But in the third film, especially, like there's a lot of like dark. It's because it's the darkest film. It's when Anakin.
It's very, very high contrast. A lot of imposing shadows, and
blacks and reds, and that becomes really pronounced at the end when they're like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker are like basically fighting on top of a volcano, like
in hell, also known as Mustafar.
He's all about the vision and the visuals, and that's the way you got to look at pretty much all of the films. But I think the problem is that the way that people look at the originals is they look at it through the lens of this like the hero's journey monomyth thing, which is a Joseph Campbell thing that has been used in so many like script writing courses and stuff. And so there's a lot of like quote unquote discourse around that. So I think a lot of people have taken that and like have just sort of almost disregarded how like visually stunning these films, all of them are. And that's always that was always the MO of George Lucas. It was never about like, he just used the monomyth thing because it was an easy thing to port into this thing
because he's not a writer. He doesn't he sees himself as not a writer, and he just kind of did that because it was easy. He was like, oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. He was awarded like a presidential medal, I think, in 2004 by George Bush for his achievements in like technical, something to do with technology. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Special effects or something.
Yeah, and basically all of the techniques we use in digital filmmaking, digital editing, digital cinematography, all of that was George Lucas. Like it comes from Star Wars and the prequels specifically. And like it or not, that's the way it is. And if you like, there's a lot of people like, your Sean Bakers that are like, we need to shoot on celluloid and whatnot, and that needs to happen and I get that to a degree. But then you hear someone like Schrader or David Cronenberg say, no, I'd prefer to shoot on digital because shooting on film sucks ass. And it's super expensive. And why would you do it? And yeah.
And it's weird because Lucas gets so much hate from like the Academy or whatever, but they don't give him his props for ushering in. And you needed the vehicle of Star Wars and just that huge fandom and that buy-in from everyone and all the nerds to really have the chance to do all this digital stuff right at the cusp, turn of the century and all that. Yeah, I think that was important. Yeah.
He's a real and I think there's been a lot of talk lately around writing communities, but also other arts as well, about leaning into being more of an artisan. And I think he's very much like an artisan filmmaker in the sense that he's very obsessed with the tools he uses and the tech and the materials, basically, which is another thing that Palia goes into in her chapter on this, like the material, like textural realities of making the film. But he's also like very business savvy, which is something that I think the more artisan kind of artist should be, because the reason he is. Well, one of the reasons he's very rich is he kind of invested in the toys, and like the toys became such a big thing that like, what was it? He was like he had majority shares of the royalties for something like that.
Like, I don't know the exact breakdown of it.
Yeah, they offered him like a huge bonus and like a bigger director's cut in the 70s. Or like a small percentage share of all the toys sold for the rest of everyone's lives. And he chose the toys and they're like, we don't give a fuck. And then like Disneyland and everything happened and that made him like a billionaire. So genius move for sure.
And he just does what he wants as well. I just love that. And he's just sort of he wants this he sees this visual and he goes with it, so like I've always respected that about him. In terms of my history with it, it's always been in the house. Like I remember that we did have like VHS copies of the movies, the original trilogy, and then somehow they got lost in a move. And then at one point, I remember taping them off the TV, and I remember as well that I never used to remember to like you could stop the recording and like cut out the ads, but I have this very vivid memory of like my TV recorded episodes 4, 6 wait what are the, 4, 6 and 7
4, 5 and 6
4, 5 and 6 sorry I can't count, but the original trilogy basically I remember having these VHS like taped versions of it that I kept the ads in. And I always remember like years later watching it and it just being really weird. These old ads, old ads are always so haunting to you, like, especially here because you probably don't have this in the US, but sometimes we get I don't know if they still do this, but sometimes we get like US ads for like products that are sold here. But then they dub them over with like Australian voices. It's very weird. Like it's such a weird because
we don't have that.
Yeah, people's accents aren't just sound. It's also like the way that people move their mouths. So like you can tell when it's like. So I always just remember that like watching Star Wars and then just watching these bizarre like uncanny ads that I taped off the TV. And eventually we got the DVDs when they released the special editions. And I kind of like the goofiness of the special editions. I'm not like some of these people who are like they really want to find the originals with like no extra added stuff that he put in there.
Yeah. Actually, I think they just screened the original print of Star Wars somewhere. I think Kathleen Kennedy did. And it like looks terrible because it's 50 years old.
Yeah. So it like I know like it is. I love like the janky 90s CGI in just put into the original trilogy.
I love it too.
I just love that. I just love it gives.
I love the like dewbacks just in front of the frame for whatever reason.
For no reason. Yeah, it's just because he wanted it. yeah, so he had a vision and he executed it. Yeah, and then after that, I remember, being really super excited for the prequels when they came out. I remember just being blown away because I was like a teenager. It was like a double-bladed lightsaber. I was like, that is so cool. Just shit like that. And that's why you guys are saying this on the TPN episode. Like, Star Wars really is for boys, and it's that kind of stuff that is like, double-bladed lightsaber, and like, yeah. Like, and the spaceships, and they've all got like model numbers, and you can get the models of them and all that sort of shit. Like, that's such boy shit right there.
Yeah, like, especially when you get into stuff like Clone Wars and Rebels. I've talked to like girl Star Wars fans that like try to watch the Clone Wars, and they're like, "What is happening here?" It's like, it's boy shit. That's what's happening here. Get off the street. Like,
yeah. And then when the prequels...
Which is kind of that's what makes the sequels a little bit offensive, that's just that aspect of it. Like, what? Yeah, it's a little bit of a cultural appropriation, if you will, from us.
My culture is not your costume.
My culture is not your costume.
The girls just get like Padme's hairstyles and stuff like that. That's the part for them.
You get the pretty dresses, like, that's fine, whatever. Like, I get space wizards and laser swords. Like, get out of my way. Like,
and she looks amazing throughout all of these films. Like, she's every scene she's in a different outfit, so there's something for the girls and gays there. She's serving cunt throughout every episode, as we might say. Especially in the second episode of the prequels, where she
when she gets her back scratched,
midriff, and the midriff. I love that.
It's incredible.
I like that she does a lot more fight scenes, and like she's like an IDF warrior, which is kind of what she is in real life.
She is actually.
I love that.
What's her real last name? Her real last name is something extremely Jewish. Like, it's like something that you would, if you were an anti-Semite, you would kind of invent, or
be like, "Why'd you change your name?" Like that whole
John Leibowitz.
But we have a very personal connection in my family to Star Wars as well, because my brother was actually in the second one in a very prominent extra scene in Dex's Diner, which I love that scene, not just because my brother's in it, but I love it. Like, so when they were filming, when they were filming the prequels, well, they filmed episode 2 and 3 in Sydney, a lot of it with the green screens. At like the then new Fox Studios. And my brother, who's always had like kind of health issues, he got the chance to do a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing. You know how they do that for sick children and stuff. And we just came up with the idea because Star Wars nerd at the time, I knew that they were filming it, and I was like, why don't we like try and get a set visit or something, or maybe even go for like trying to be an extra or something like that. And it turns out we got that. Me, my mum, and my brother went and visited Fox Studios. We met George Lucas, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
And incredible. He's exactly the same in like all of those videos you see. He's always in jeans and sneakers and like a flannel. Even in the summer in Australia, which was weird because I'm not wearing flannel in Sydney in summer, but
he just dresses like Michael Moore or something, right?
Yeah. But he was super nice and like very, very accommodating.